Okay, in front of me now I've got a selection of 5 cover crops and one piece of soil that's got no crop in it at all from the same field. We've put in this range of cover crops, they're all cultivated in the same way, so pretty much combination drilled in. Where we've got no cover on the soil, then we've got this pretty complete capping all the way across the soil, which again is stopping any water from infiltrating into the field. And again, lower down in the soil profile, we've got this relatively dry soil. So again, it's telling us we don't have a drainage problem. We have an infiltration problem, not a drainage problem. Where we're growing cover crops on the soil and it's being protected by green foliage, stopping the rain getting a really direct hit on the top of it, you can see that the soil is much more stable in the surface. It's more open, it's full of roots. Slight cap on it because it's very silty soil, but water is infiltrating really quite well through that surface. So we're looking to stabilise this surface of the soil compared to this distinct cap on the top in order to get that infiltration into the soil. So that's our bare soil. Cap on the top, relatively dry below that area. This next sample we've got here is a cover crop of meadow grass and phacelia, and there's some chickweed knocking around in it as well. Good protection of the surface, water's penetrating all the way down through this soil. So this soil is wetter than this soil all the way through the profile because the water has passage through that soil all the time down to drainage. What also happens with the cover crop, we talked about this at Brampton in the first videos, the root zone in here tends to hold that moisture in this area. It wants to keep this area moist to get nutrients into solution so that it can take those nutrients up. So that soil is much softer, it's more open, it's in better condition, but it's wetter. This sample of soil we have here is just covered by the natural regrowth of chickweed that's occurring in this field, some groundsel as well. Giving us very good protection of the soil surface, so we've got good infiltration, but it's not quite in a good condition as where we had the phacelia and meadow grasses because we've not selected the roots. These roots are very, very shallow in the soil, very fine, very close to the surface, not penetrating down through the profile and giving us overall profile conditioning. So this is actually still drier in the lower part of the profile than where we've got our meadow grass and phacelia cover crop. And that's just where we're passing those roots down through the profile and the impact that we're having. This next sample here, again, some ryegrass, phacelia and wheat growing in here. Again, very good surface protection. We're starting to get worms, quite a few worms now, which is the first time we've started to see them in this field for a while. Quite a few worms now, engaging with the biology that's being pushed into the soil from these roots. Really good worm population in here now, actually. So quite a nice mix of worm species in here as well, starting to develop. Again, you can see that the lower profile in this soil is much, much drier. We've got roots penetrating down through it and it's much, much wetter in the surface here. That's fairly typical of where we've got a predominantly phacelia based cover crop. Very fine root mass through the surface area of the soil, drawing moisture up. And we're dominated with phacelia in this particular mix. And that's giving us less variation in root down through the entire profile. Okay, moving across to this sample here. This sample is dominated by forage rye, and you can see much bigger roots moving down through the soil here. We've got good worm activity going on in here as well. Lots of wormholes obvious within this soil. And again, we're starting to see that we've got moisture all the way down through the profile. Pretty much the same level of moisture all the way down through. It's not that predominantly dry soil down at the bottom here now, because again, this root structure allowing water to penetrate all the way through the profile and out to drainage. And then this final one here is our meadow grass again, but then we've got it mixed with radish in this instance. And again, you can see we've got a lot of root mass to a good depth within this soil, and we've got our radish roots coming right out through the bottom here, and again good moisture penetration all the way through the soil profile, protection of the soil surface, so we're getting good infiltration. So hopefully you can see how we can build structure in the soil by using roots, get water to passage through the soil as it should, by engaging those roots with biology and building the structure in a natural way, compared to where we have no crop growing in the soil, which restricts the water movement through the soil and allows the soil to go blocky and stop water passaging, and leaves the surface unprotected.